Okay, think about these questions. What is an infinitive verb? What is a conjugated verb? What are the steps to conjugate verbs in Spanish? And do you remember any endings? Give you 30 seconds to think about these questions. Okay, so an infinitive verb is when nobody is doing the action. In English, it always starts with to. For example, to do, to eat, to drink. And in Spanish, the infinitive verbs always end in AR, ER, or IR. For example, hablar, comer, o escribir. What is a conjugated verb then? Is when someone is doing the action. For example, when you say I eat, in Spanish, como. So that O in Spanish means I am doing the action. What are the steps to conjugate verbs? Remember, there are 3 steps. First thing we need to do is get rid of the N of the infinitive. So bye-bye are, or ir. Then you need to find who is doing the action. If it's I, if it's you, if it's he or she, we, you plural, or they. And then add the correct ending. Do you remember any endings? So for the verbs ending in R in Spanish, we have these endings: o, as, a, amos, ais, an. For the verbs ending in er, we have o, es, e, hemos, eis, and en. And for the verb infinitive verbs ending in ir in Spanish, we have these endings: o, es, e, imos, is, en. And here we have all the endings for the regular verbs in Spanish. As you know, we have 3 endings for infinitive verbs. The infinitives ending in ar, in er, or in ir. And they have different forms. So we need to look very, very carefully to the infinitive verb in order to choose the right form. Let's conjugate together to practice conjugation. So for example, I want to conjugate beber, to drink, for the she form. So the first thing I'm going to do is removing the ending. So bye-bye er, and then I'm left with the stem beb. But beb means nothing, so I need to find the ending for the she form. So I go to the column of the verbs ending in er, like beber, and I'm going to choose the ending for the she form, which is e. So I'm going to add the e to my stem, and I'm left with bebe, which means she drinks. Let's do another one. So for example, I want to conjugate hablar, to speak, for the they form. So hablar ends in ar. The first thing I'm going to do is removing the ending, so bye-bye are, and I'm left with hable, the stem. Now I need to find in the right column the form, the ending for they. So I'm going to the AR column and I look for the they ending, which is an. So I'm gonna add an to my stem, and I am left with hablan, they speak. Let's do another one. I for escribir. So I have the infinitive escribir, to write, which ends in IR, And the first thing I'm going to do is removing the ending, so bye-bye IR, and I am left with S. Which is my stem. Now I'm going to look for the I form. So I'm going to go to the column of the verbs ending in IR, and I'm going to look for the I form, which is O. So escribir, and I add the O, escribo. I write. Let's do another example. Let's conjugate beber for mi amigo y yo, which means my friend and I. So beber means to drink and ends in AR, in ER. So I remove the ending first thing, and I'm left with beb. Now I need to think mi amigo y yo, my friend and I, is the same than we. So I'm gonna go to the er column and I'm gonna look for the we ending, which is hemos. So I'm gonna add it to my stem. And I am left with bebemos. We drink. Mi amigo and I, or my friend and I, drink. Mi amigo y yo bebemos. And one more example. Cantar, to sing, and Peter. So let's start from the beginning. Cantar. I have the ending AR, bye-bye R. So I'm left with can't. Now, Peter, the form for Peter is the same than he. So I'm going to go to the AR column, because cantar ends in AR, and I'm going to look for the he form, which is A. So I'm going to add that ending to my stem. Canta. So Peter canta. He sings. So always remember, first of all, you remove the ending of the infinitive, decide who is doing the action, and look in the right column to add the right ending. And then you have conjugated the verb. However, not all the verbs in Spanish are regular verbs. Some of them are irregular verbs. Irregular verbs are rebellious because they do not follow the conjugation rules that we have just practiced in the slide before. So you are familiar with two irregular verbs. One of them is tener, to have. So tengo means I have, tienes means you have, tiene means he, she, or it has, tenemos means we have, tenéis means you lot or you plural have, and tienen means they have. So we have seen tener when talking about family. For example, tengo dos hermanos. I have two brothers, or I have two siblings. We have seen tener also when talking about age. For example, mi hermano tiene 13 años. My brother is 13 years old. Be careful because in Spanish we say the age with the verb to have. This is tricky. But we can also use tener when talking about our school. For example, los lunes tengo ciencias. On Mondays I have science. You are also familiar with another irregular verb, ser, which means to be. Soy means I am, eres means you are, es means it, he, or she is, somos means we are, sois means you lot or you plural are, and son means they are. So we have seen ser when talking about nationalities. For example, soy inglés, no soy español. I am English, I am not Spanish. Or we're talking about character or personalities. For example, mi madre es muy inteligente. My mom is very intelligent. But we can also use ser to talk about our school. For example, mi colegio es grande. My school is big. As you can see, I use ser to describe. So you should have the verbs tener and ser in your book. But if you don't have your book with you or you don't know where they are, please write them down now, the English and the Spanish.